Hello. Thank you for tuning in to TSC Talks. We are the source cannabinoids inspired by the condition known as tuberous sclerosis complex. My name is Jill Woodworth and I am your host. Today on the podcast, my guest is Danielle McQueen. She is the owner, founder of Old Man Goodies, a cannabis company in Maine. And she is here to tell her story, her personal story, that of her daughter, and the inspiration behind this incredible business. So I think this is one that you might need to get your box of Kleenex for. I know I did, and everybody that worked on this episode did as well. Really powerful stuff that Danielle has to share. She was diagnosed with a disease called Ankylosing Spondylitis. Before the age of 18, she was on heavy-duty painkillers and became an addict, and realized at some point that she had to get off these medications. Medication she was using to survive, by the way. Taking high doses and really kind of being encouraged by the medical system to continue on this path, and finding out that the doctor that was overprescribing was under investigation, and she ended up coming off narcotics and utilizing cannabis as medicine, which changed her life forever. And then in her daughter, who also has the same condition, realizing she was going to really need to go heavy duty on the path of alt med, supplemented with traditional med to help her daughter, and also implemented cannabinoid medicine. And from making the remedies that were helpful for her daughter, started networking with other mothers and making these products, and the business came from there. So yeah, really great, powerful story. Get ready with your Kleenex boxes, and thank you, Danielle, for doing this podcast. In conclusion, mentioning that her intense inspiration from her daughter, Haley, who popped up on the podcast to visit us, and she's been her force to keep fighting every day. And Danielle feels she's blessed to have opened her own company to help educate others and supply products that can change the views on taking over their own health. So, thanks again, Danielle, and take it away. Thanks for being on, Danielle, Dani McQueen, and your business is it's Old Man Goodies. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you started it, or your daughter, making edibles and trying to figure out a diet and something alternative that worked for her and her diagnosis. Ankylosing, you better say it.
Ankylosing spondylitis.
Ankylosing spondylitis. Okay. Yeah. So, and just really uprooted yourself and moved to Maine to help your child and yourself. And I'm just very impressed with what I've learned so far. So thanks.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Why don't you just tell me a little bit of your background, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I never honestly thought of having a child myself. So from a very early age, I always wanted to be a doctor. I always wanted to help people. I always knew I wanted to help people. At an early age, I also knew something was wrong with me too.
Really?
I had gotten into a little bit of trouble at school, and my dad made me join a sport, and my sisters were doing Pop Warner cheerleading, and I had to go. It was easy, convenient for the family, and I got into it. I loved the gymnastics part, flipping, and I thought, I could do this. But I also started to realize that I was getting pains, and everyone kind of chalked it up to growing pains until I was probably around 16 is when it really started to affect me. by 18, not even 18, I think 17 years old, I'd seen every doctor. I had been diagnosed with from lupus to rheumatoid arthritis to everything. And I never honestly, it's sad to say, I don't blame the doctors because a lot of, they're just trying to help. So being diagnosed with so many diagnoses just because it was kind of unknown was a little taken. By 18, they had known that it was, ankylosing spondylitis, and I was put on OxyContin. And it helped.
So tell me what that is. So what ankylosing spondylitis is? It's
an autoimmune disease.
Okay.
Similar to other autoimmune diseases, kind of everything good your body looks at as foreign and attacks it. With AS, it really affects the joints and spinal cord.
Interesting.
So this next month, I'll be going in for my third surgery. They'll be doing a full fusion from the cervix down.
Okay.
Just because I've had so many slip discs and fractures that are kind of just deteriorating. So I'm a little nervous. More concerned because every time something like this happens, I think of my daughter. I just think of like what her future, might look like. Because like I was saying, when I was 18, they put me on OxyContin and it helped.
Of course.
Back then, these drugs were just coming to market. These doctors were taught by the pharmaceuticals that these were lifesavers. Of
course.
And they were for some people. I'm not denying that fact.
Right.
But for me being so young, I probably shouldn't have been put on OxyContin. Over time, it stopped helping. And at this point, I was in college and I was going to school to be a nurse. And now at this time, I am, after OxyContin, I'm put on the fentanyl patch. And this, I'm using the OxyContin, the fentanyl patch, and the OxyContin. So now I'm in school and I'm learning in the medical world. And I start to learn kind of that maybe I shouldn't be on these doses. Maybe I shouldn't be on these medications. Maybe it's okay to question the doctors.
How old are you?
I say I probably at this point I'd be 21.
Okay.
I was a full-blown addict, and the doctors were my drug dealers. I read the stories, and I was a manager of a Suboxone clinic a few years ago, and I thought to myself, like, I was no different than these people almost, except they went to get their drugs from the street. I just had to go to my doctor. She'd write me a prescription, and I'd be on my way. I mean, there was no difference to me.
Totally right there. Yeah, I went through addiction treatment too. And, it's like this line, like, who are we? Aren't we all like the same? Why do we have to designate that these meds are like, okay, and push these other people down that are just trying to help themselves, Yeah.
I think that though, at the point of knowing, maybe something was wrong. Maybe that I could have, I just felt something was wrong. I feel really guilty saying this. Luckily, one time I had walked into my doctor's office to get a prescription. There were a lot of people in police uniforms and there were people carrying boxes, and the nurse was really sneaky about getting me into a room. I don't remember seeing the doctor that day. I just got my prescription. And I was in a haze. I feel like from 18 to 22. I literally feel like I don't recall a lot of that. How I managed to graduate school and do the things I did in that time period are still amazing to me. That next day, I read in the newspaper that my doctor was under investigation for overprescribing narcotics, that, and there was a lot of overdoses in our town at that time. And this doctor was connected to him. Well, next thing I know, I'm very young. I'm being called by the Board of Medicine because my medical records have been found outside of her office being disposed of. So now I'm caught in this I'm addicted to drugs. Who's going to supply my drugs now? This is so embarrassing. It's in the newspaper. I'm in the medical field. I went through this stage of full-blown depression of I didn't know what to do, honestly.
I bet.
Thankfully, it was the time of my life. Life was given back to me because I had no choice other than to either go to the streets and become a drug addict or detox. And I don't recommend detoxing at home, but I was too ashamed to go to the same hospital I worked in. So I detoxed at home. The worst 14 days of my life, pain I've never felt, sickness and things I've never felt before. And I wouldn't want to ever again. I think that's why I've stayed off of narcotics, because that feeling I remember of coming off of them. On day 15, I remember my younger brother offering me a joint, and I was mortified. I was like, how dare you, you know?
Yeah, well, the recovery movement they really were not very pro cannabis. In fact, I dropped out because I was going back to school to become an addiction counselor, and like they passed around this magazine with marijuana on the front of it, like it was God's like worst thing. And I was sitting there and I had just started using it. I felt so guilty and it was helping me and I was getting off meds and I was like, I can't do this. I can't be in this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. Honestly, I was mortified. And then you know what? I did it because what was the other option? I was so sick. I was so sick. And all of a sudden I felt better. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. How do we get more of this stuff, you know? So here I am. I work at the hospital. I'm using my younger brother to go buy me marijuana. You know, like the whole situation mortifying. But then I start to realize this is going to help me. This is going to be the thing that helps me. And, you know, it started to help me. And then I started to want to help other people. I got a job at a Suboxone clinic and I wanted to help people. I just thought that I could save the world. And then I started to realize I'm drug testing these patients. They're coming back positive for THC. And the doc, that's okay, Dani, no big deal. They come back something else. That's a problem. And I'm thinking, why is this not legal? Why aren't we just using it? Why can't we give them weed? Because here I am. I'm smoking cannabis every day. It's helping me stay clean, function with my disease. I'm treating these patients and I'm hiding the fact that I probably smell like it. They thought it was them. It's me the whole time. You know, like, and it was
too much, cognitive dissonance, too much to like.
It's crazy, taboo of it. And then you know what? I got pregnant and there was no more I could hide it. There was no more it was non-existent that I had to be quiet about it, because Harley Rose in 2015, very early on, she started to show symptoms of something and nobody knew what it was. But one day I went into her crib. She was stiff as a board. I picked her up and she just was very hard and her joints were very red and she had a fever of 102. And I knew right at that moment that I had genetically passed down something to her. And it was really the worst day of my life, I thought. I just thought everything just was like flashing, everything I had gone through. And I blamed myself. Her pediatrician was great. You know, quickly after the test, they found out she, had AS. And right then it was like a whiplash. Hey, Princess, you coming up?
Hey.
It's Haley Rose.
Hi. How are you? What are you doing today?
She's waiting for her pool, patiently waiting for her.
I won't keep your mommy too long. I promise.
She's patiently waiting for her swimming pool. It was supposed to come today, but No,
we only had one before we got in the forest for Maine. Then we went way back, but it was gone.
It was gone?
Yeah.
What was gone? I missed it.
I might have when we moved. I actually left our pool outside. And when we went back for it, it was gone.
Aww.
Gone. We got a new one. It's coming. I'm sorry. It looks like a donut.
Oh, awesome. I'm jealous. So jealous.
Here you go, baby. You gotta climb down.
Bye, honey.
Oh, she's so funny. But she came. She arrived and I didn't care who. I was very angry at this point, more at myself, I think, depressed, because I just felt like this is all my fault. I gave this to her. My child's going to have to endure all the same things I have. So I was very scared. And then, like I said, it was like a slide. They just wanted, let's do this, let's do that. And let's do none of it. What can I do herbally, you know? And that was just like,
you were already there. Like,
oh yeah, I was very right off the bat, stubborn, and thankfully her father, oh my gosh, we've known each other 20 years. So he supports anything I say regarding her health. And the doctors were not supportive of anything alternative. And about a week went by from the diagnosis, and I was sitting probably on a Friday watching her, and her body, she just hurt. You could tell she hurt. And I didn't know what to do. And I had a prescription for pain medication for her, and I was holding it, and I just knew I couldn't do it. And within days, you know, we had quit our jobs. We had packed our home up, and we had found a place in West Baldwin, Maine. And we didn't have any jobs here. We didn't have anything, only the hope that somebody was going to help my daughter. And we left.
Wow.
And we met Dr. Dustin Sulak.
How did you meet him? Just research?
Well, yeah, one of the doctors in New Hampshire had done some research for me, and I called his office and I left this message like, I read about you, you know, I probably sounded like a lunatic, you know.
You were desperate.
I just said, please, I know you're not accepting new patients. I need you to help me. And within probably 24 hours, 48 hours, there was a call back. We had an appointment within days. We went in, and I was terrified because I didn't really still at this point want to give her the cannabis. I don't know. I thought maybe this guy was just going to be able to give her an herb. Yeah, I don't know what I thought. Honestly, I don't know what I was doing or what I thought. I was so scared. So he was so wonderful. He just was like this white light that had come over us. And we started her on cannabis, and she started to do things she had never done before. I'll never forget the day she took off running, jumped on the arm of the couch, and ninja flipped.
No way.
And I thought, do it again. Climb a wall. For months, my sisters would like look at me and give me that, you know, they're older than me, give me that look like, you shouldn't be letting your baby do that. But I did. I let her do things that maybe you shouldn't have done. She would, my staircase and my bed are right here, and she would go on the stairs and jump and do a somersault. And I would let her, because it was like, maybe she'd been trapped, you know, this whole time. Baby, don't shake the table, okay?
I wasn't.
She'd been trapped that whole time in this body. So I just, at that moment, even the stigma for myself, you know, here I was, it was helping me, but I still was scared to give it to my child. Then I gave it to her. She's remarkable, shows remarkable results. And that's where it all started. I knew what I needed to do this is what was right. Like, we were on the right journey, except you didn't have the caregivers we have now. There wasn't a support system. There wasn't these shops on every corner, and there wasn't this family. It wasn't like that when I first came here. So
what year was that? Just for reference.
2015.
Okay. Yep. That's when I first got around when I got my card, and you know, you're right. It's a lot different.
There wasn't. So I feel terrible saying this, but I trusted in a caregiver. They sounded great. They sounded, you know, they all sound, you know, great in the beginning, but sometimes thank God they've all been weeded out, those bad ones. But in 2015, they were everywhere.
Oh, so you have to get a caregiver for like, because like I just picked, you know, a friend that is.
Yeah, with the baby, we had just moved here. We didn't really know. They had given us a couple names of dispensaries, but when I had looked those dispensaries up, I read, you know, you read the reviews and you still think like, oh my gosh, I can't do this type of situation. So I met these people. They seemed wonderful. I got the medication, and the medication wasn't doing what the bottle before had done. So she started to get sick and throw up. And then I didn't know it should have come with maybe a lab slip or
Well, how
something.
would you? You wouldn't know.
And, so when I got it tested and the bottle came back with large amounts of ethanol in it, I felt so stupid. I had poisoned my own child. And then that's when it was like, game on, world. Because if I'm doing everything, teach me how to grow cannabis, teach me how to do everything about cannabis. Somebody teach me cannabis, everything about it. And that's where I just, honestly, everything else around me didn't exist. I just focused solely on what I could do and develop. And Dustin, he teaches a lot about what you can have in your diet that can help the endocannabinoid system, and tea and chocolate happen to be really big. So I started to develop all of my products for my daughter because I couldn't get the medication into her. So it's ironic where I am now because it was all for Harley. Everything was all developed because I wanted all these herbs that were already researched, like clove and ginger and things like that, to help with symptoms, and then I would add in the cannabis. So everything had some type of medical component, and it was all developed that way to help my daughter.
That's so cool.
Thankfully, it's helped tons of other people, but never was that my intention. Never. It wasn't.
Well, hey, that is just so cool. How did you figure out like proportions and, the sources? I mean, that sounds like a big task to figure it out. How did you figure it out?
Well, in the beginning, like I said, the source part was so scary and I had messed up on
Right.
that.
Okay.
So
yeah.
For Dad, let's grow. I'm going to grow. And thankfully, he's really great at it. I mean, he's really great. So he grows all the cannabis.
Okay.
We do have some other companies, thankfully, that I would trust with my daughter's life. Some that even came from New Hampshire. So it's kind of cool that we're here both, we're all here now. So, I mean, there are always sources, but in 2015, there wasn't. So I started it to grow the cannabis, produce the cannabis. Dustin's really great about giving the pediatric patients a handbook. It's like a dummy guide almost about how to make your own tinctures. So, I mean, that's how it started. And then I started to help one mom, and then that started to be two moms, and then it just really grew. And I never connected my business name with who I was as a mom helping these women. I never wanted it to be combined. So it's funny now, I have moms that I helped years ago say to me, did you own this company back then? And I'll laugh because I did, but I didn't. I just wanted them to know I was just like them. I just remember having nobody. I had nobody here. I was so depressed. I had left my mom, my sisters. I was a brand new mom myself. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have that. We were hours away from everybody we knew. So everything I've built or done, as you can see, my daughter has been here. She has her own desk in the offices. She, I mean, as the laws changed and, you couldn't have, minors in certain areas, that frustrated her. I'll tell you that, because you took her from places that she's loved for years. So, because she also, I mean, she lives and breathes this. This is something that she knows helps her and helps all the other kids that she's met. So, I mean, beautiful. She's a champion.
Good job.
That was milk.
That is so awesome. Yeah. And what has been the biggest challenge in the recent coronavirus, and how have you guys gotten through? I mean, sounds like you're pretty well versed in, your own boosting your immune system and all the things that we can do. So,
well, to be honest, I was terrified at first.
Yeah, me too.
Right at the beginning of it happening, she had an EEG to go into. We had tests like back to back, treatments and things that we had to go. So all of a sudden they were kind of saying, you can come if you want to, but I'm watching the news. I'm terrified.
Yeah.
So I kept her inside completely. We couldn't stop working, sadly, but I mean, we would protect ourselves as much as we could. We'd change our clothes outside. We would shower right when we came in. But I mean, she still had to go to doctors. So if she was really going to get it anywhere, it'd probably be from somewhere like that.
Right.
Thankfully, she's been to a few appointments and she hasn't, hasn't been affected, but business hasn't been affected, thankfully.
That's awesome. Good to hear.
Her appointments definitely have. And I mean, other children's appointments have, they canceled them for so long. And now all of a sudden, these couple of weeks, I feel like we have an appointment almost every day this week because, they're trying to cram it all back in.
Yeah, I got to get caught up with that stuff I've kind of blown it all off and now back to reality. So your vision and anything else that I think when we talked before, it seems like you're really highlighting something that is important to me. And it's just like the connection that you have with what you're doing and everything, in your life is kind of, to me, it seems like you've kind of found your purpose and passion. And I don't know, how do you see the future with your business? I don't know, just sum it up. Any challenges or?
I mean, challenges. I remember at one point, I couldn't get the baby into like a program, like not daycare. They wouldn't let her in preschool at the time because of the whole law still with cannabis.
Right. I was going to ask about that. Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah.
Everyone's like, just homeschool her. It sounds so easy.
Yeah.
I bet you guys all changed your mind. Now you're in quarantine with kids,
I didn't even try. My son's special needs. I'm like, nope, there is no way I can do this.
So that was really scary. Honestly, I couldn't get her in anywhere. Homeschooling, I was going to try.
That's a lot.
And, running the business. And at one point I was going to give it all up. I was like, first of all, this business really wasn't my intention. I didn't want to do this. I just wanted to be a mom. And it's so ironic. The people that touch your life and you don't really know them. It was like a really hard day. The doctors were just bombarding us with, bad news. And she had her first seizure. And I was at my end. I didn't want the company. I wanted somebody else to take it. I was going to give it all away, and there's this lady I think I met her maybe on Instagram. Her and her husband own a company here in Maine, Humble Farms. And, I don't know how we first started talking, but she has kids around my age. And randomly, this lady that I don't know takes the time out of her day to send me like 200 pages of how to homeschool your preschooler. Okay?
No way.
I'm like, all right. So then I printed out, and that next day I had a little bit more strength. And then it was just so weird. This one kindness, this one lady I had never met in my whole life had like brought me out of this circle of depression almost, because I've got that little bit of strength that I was like, I can do this, if not for anyone else, my daughter, because I don't have another option. Okay. School's not an option. The other option is being a baby about it and being a victim. That's not going to work for me. So let's figure it out. And, I'm not saying I'm the best teacher, but she's 4 years old and can write her name. So I think we're doing okay. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't check on skill levels, but I think it's okay. So
seriously.
And that's the motto I've lived by, really honestly, since. Like, this woman that had no idea who we were, just randomly. It had to take time. It's like 200 pages each book, and she's sending these to me,
Wow.
And it's funny. It's like she probably has no idea the impact that she affected me that day.
I'm getting choked up, that's a really.
And honestly,
nice.
I just wanted to keep doing that for other people, other moms. And I've been, you can't just give away stuff. You're right. I can't give it away, but it's like, if I can, and I have that ability right this second, I am going to give it away, because if somebody didn't help me and just it's okay. You're okay. We can do this. I would never be standing here today. I would never be nominated for Best Cannabis Company of the Year. I thought that was a joke. I thought my sister was playing a joke on me.
Really?
I was like, cut it out. So, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people that I had no idea who they were. They just saw me as a vulnerable mother that needed help. So it's that's my motto. I just want to help people. I just have to. I feel like if anything, my disease, my illness, my daughter's illness, if it was given to us for any other reason, it's totally because we can some way change somebody else's life. It sounds crazy, I know, but I really believe that.
I think going through something like that, where, you know, you're in a situation that really can't be changed, and it presents challenges that are really hard to endure by yourself, it changes you in ways that your whole like purpose and meaning kind of shift. Really inspiring talking to you. You know, I think I'm coming to that kind of conclusion a lot later in life than I would, you know, but you can't second guess that. You know, you go through what you go through to grow through, or whatever cliche you want to use. Right. But yeah, I think, you know, it puts things in perspective when you look back, and I think about the things that didn't work out, and, you know, what was down the road that made more sense and kind of brought things together. And yeah, like you, I don't have time to waste on a lot of crap.
Right.
You know, for me, I can just relate to that. It's about trying to help my kids and help other people that are just trapped in like these disease situations where they feel there's no choice but pharma.
It's really sad. I had a doctor, and I hope for him it was an educational moment, but they came in with my scans. I just had a scan done a month ago. They came in, I had just had one days ago, and they said, like, Dani, there's 13 new fractures. Like, you have to stop being stubborn, and we have to get in there, and we got to operate. And I mean, I'm the worst patient ever, but he says to me, I gave you a drug screen, and you really did only test positive for cannabis. And I start laughing so hard. I go, did you think I was lying? And he goes, I don't know. Yeah, kind of, because I thought, how is it that you're functioning like you are? And I kind of laughed, but I said to him, I hope this is a learning experience for you, that all I have in my system is cannabis. And here you are as a doctor saying I should not be functioning without narcotics. And you thought I was lying. And I said, I'm simply telling you, I'll give you a deal if you want to start smoking cannabis. And he started laughing.
Oh, that's great.
You know, it's like, I hope that was a learning lesson for
Absolutely.
you. Because how dare you, first of all, drug test me? I told you I didn't take drugs. I smoke weed, you know? So, but you know what? That moment, I didn't get mad about it, because I hope the next patient he sees, and he's run out of options for that person. He's putting them on fentanyl. He's putting them on morphine, and there's nothing that's helping. Maybe something clicked that says, I met this girl one time that was way worse than you, and all she did was smoke cannabis or eat cannabis, or maybe, and one life can be changed from what he saw, because it was too funny to me. And the people that I've told the story to are like, you should be mad. It's like, I'm not mad. I don't care if he thought I was lying. In the world we live in today, I worked in a Suboxone clinic. I thought everybody was lying. Because you know what? They all were. It's a terrible thing. So,
it's hard. It's hard. We were put in positions where, you know, we are bent beyond broken. And I don't know. I just feel really bad for, you know, people in like desperate situations that end up in Suboxone clinics. And, you know, I just have such compassion for the underdog, because I've been to that point where, you you go through that like really like bottom or whatever. And you appreciate what you learn along the way in terms of I'm no different, you know, and yeah. And
yeah. Well,
I used to lie of traditional medicine is hard to sit with, but I feel bad in a lot of ways for the doctors, because what the heck can they do about it? But
yeah, no, you know, and I used to explain it to my patients, like they felt so defeated being there, number one. And it was like, you're in a pit bull fight. Like, this is what you see on TV, the caged dogs. This is the fight of your life, you know? This is how it's going to be. And it's going to be this way your whole life. I am not proud to say that I was an addict, whether it was by or created by my doctor.
I was too.
I'm not ashamed to say I was an addict. And sadly, those drugs have affected my brain in ways that will affect me forever. Because guess what? I'm an addict forever. I will always be addicted, I found, to something. If it's not having that cup of coffee every day that I feel I have to have, you know, so it's like I learned things about addiction working in the Suboxone Clinic that made me think to myself, these people, that's their last hope. And they have no idea that there's a whole nother road or option. I mean, and most of them are just embarrassed. They're just embarrassed to have gotten there. So, I mean, it's really sad. I've got a lot of slack from back home of my other nurses or doctors
Really?
I work with about what I do now. What do you mean you smoked weed when you worked here? Or what do you mean you grow
Really?
weed now? And it's so funny to me because I always think to myself, one day I hope this doesn't happen, but one day if they're on their last hope and their wife, their child, themselves need that outlet of that crazy guru, the lady in the woods, I'll be there open arms because it's not their fault that the stigma is there. It's their fault they continue with it. But until a situation affects them or affects you so greatly that you feel it's bold enough to speak upon, the world sadly is not going to care. So I don't care. I mean, I used to be so embarrassed about being an addict, being just how I started, how it got here, how I got here, how I gave my child bad medicine, but then I thought to myself, these moms email me and they say, oh, you have it all put together. Look what you've built. I've built something amazing with a lot of blood and tears, you know, but don't get it twisted. Every day is a struggle. And it's like, I'm no different than the normal mom at the supermarket. I just feel like people need to realize they have their own strength within them and they have to find what kind of activates that strength. Thankfully, I found Reiki. I mean, it saved my life. It saved my life. I didn't believe in it before. I watched Dustin do it on my daughter one day and she just sat there. She got off the table. She said that was great. And then she just felt better. Everything about her was better. Then I watched him do it again a month later. Same thing. And I thought, what is that? What are you doing? And I started to learn, and it's taken me over a year and a half, but I just got my master's.
Wow.
And it's truly...
I don't know hardly anything about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go look more. I mean, I've talked to people about it and...
It's just really a beautiful, more for yourself, your mind. Your mind is so powerful, I've come to realize. And I guess I realized that more when you're sitting waiting for a surgeon to bring back your kid, or that there's some type of power in you that you sometimes never realize before until you're in that situation.
Totally.
So Reiki, I mean, I feel like it saved me. I literally spent the last 4 years, I didn't leave the house. I left, if I left, it was just to work. I didn't.
It sounds like me now.
It's funny. People always say, how did you do what you did? It's like, I kind of say it's like the Mad Hatter. I was in this whirlwind of my baby being sick, me being sick, trying to do this company and not really at some points knowing if, this was too much, if I was taking away from my own daughter, if what I was doing was right, this guilt.
I hear ya.
There's guilt. And, it's like the moms like Ashley from Mom's Totally Big. I mean, that lady didn't have to help me. She didn't know me. Honestly, I was another cannabis company. I kind of was a competitor and didn't matter. And it's like, I just have grown to who I am because people have shown me kindness and strength that I never knew before existed. Honestly, it's a different world. You're in a different world when your child is sick or you're sick, and the things that people stress about aren't really that, not really that stressful, Harley constantly walks around she always do what my auntie says, don't sweat the small stuff. And it's you're right. Don't sweat the small stuff, kid.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Because you can't, you just can't. Life is always going to be hard for her. So people say I'm hard on her, but life's always going to be a little bit harder for her. So
right.
like,
I think that's an important point.
Yeah, I mean, your child and my child are going to be different from somebody else's child. So I need to instill that you might be in pain every day, but you're a warrior, you know? And she does think, I mean, maybe I'm going about it the wrong way, but she truly believes she's a superhero. And you know what? I'm okay with I am okay with her thinking that she has superpowers, because I think she does. Like,
I'm sure she does. How
does she function? She's a superhero.
I think, you know, it just speaks to the unknowns of we don't know what's we're capable of, really. You know,
absolutely.
Our mind, you know, there's so much that we just don't know that is beyond. And I think cannabis is a gateway to that, starting to explore that. So yeah, she's going to be a superhero, or she already is. And, you know, I think, I love this. I totally get where you're coming from and love your business. I mean, what's your main, is it edible products? I mean,
we do the teas. Of course, I started off with just one tea, and we do make 3 teas now in hot cocoa, but we put them in these brew in the bags, put the water inside, let it brew, and then next thing you know, you just undo the cap and your tea comes out. So it's like your own little teapot on the go.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we do 3 blends. We also do a hot chocolate. So those are our main products. But when Corona started, right before that, we had a lot of elderly patients that hadn't been able to get out anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So one time, why can't you just send it to my house? Sometimes I can just order snacks off Amazon. They come in a box.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to laugh. But then my sister says to me, can't you just make me stuff and send it to my house? And I thought, how about you make it yourself? So I gave her an instruction sheet, the molds, and everything, and I sent her on her way. Well, then I thought, you know what? I would like somebody to send to my house all this stuff, so I'm going to create it myself, I thought, you know? So we started to do subscription boxes.
I saw that.
Subscription boxes. And it's been a huge hit. I never thought it would be what it is, so I'm really blessed. But they're these boxes that come like this, and they say you're not in Wonderland anymore. And this box one, let's see what this one is. Okay, so this one's the make your own gummy one. So it will come with step 1.
Oh my gosh!
2, and step 3.
I'm gonna get some. That is so cool.
It comes with your own little mold, and this box came with an apron that says, I like to get high, and then in little letters, quality ingredients at my farm market. But June boxes are make your own s'mores. Campfire, get toast boxes. So every month we change the theme. And next month they'll be able to make their own chocolate bars. But the marshmallows are CBD made, and the graham crackers will come already pre-made, and they'll make their own chocolates.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's really, I think it's given the patients that ability of I made my own edibles, that feeling. So
blown away.
Honestly, I love it. It's really been a huge response from the community. I didn't think it would be. I really just kind of thought it was going to help a few people, and next thing you know, I was like, what people? When I got my first 12-year subscription plan, I was like, oh, well, doesn't matter if it was just an idea, because now it's staying. You don't have a choice, but it's been great. It's been about 6 months now that we've run them, and it's been amazing. So it's definitely a keeper. We'll keep that one, but mainly we do the teas and hot chocolate, and now the subscription boxes. So
that's really great. And is it your clientele is just? I mean, how do you advertise?
For mainly in the beginning, it was just I didn't need advertisement. I was just in the community.
Word of mouth.
Candy moms, I was in this other world. And then the elderly community, everyone loves tea. So I kind of expanded into that branch of it. And then luckily, stores and dispensaries around here started to carry my products.
Did they? Was it hard to get it into a dispensary?
At first, I didn't try. I had never tried because I don't know. didn't really try, but then they started to call me and say, like, can I have it? And Canuvo, one of the 8 in Maine that are like state run, when they called me, I was like, sure,
Great.
because at first I was so little, I was so small. So it's weird that all of a sudden people have started, to love our product, thankfully. And it's more the fact that I love hearing, I drank, the hot cocoa, and I've taken that same amount before, but didn't get those effects. And it's like that educational part that you can feel about why. It's because of what you ingested with,
There's
with
so many variables, but you can be a little more involved in the process there with.
Right. Because then that next time, now it's not just cannabis helps me, it's why did it help you? And now they're spreading the education of why you should maybe eat a mango with your cannabis or eat hot cocoa, things of that nature. So, it's all kind of about breaking the stigma in small ways.
I can't wait to share it. Yeah, I'm thrilled to know about it. So we can find you at where?
So our website is www.oldmanfarms.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Instagram, Old Man Goodies, and we have Facebook, Old Man Goodies too, hashtag. So
okay.
Perfect.
Right,
I look forward to it.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too.
And that is a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in to TSC Talks. Please check out our website at tsctalks.com. We have our first products up there, Forest Bathing, a product line developed in partnership with Mike Robinson, who is the formulator. He is the founder of the Global Cannabinoid Research Center and inspired this product from his own lived and learned experience. It's an amazing CBD, CBG, terpene blend with nanotechnology providing rapid relief. And the reviews coming out so far are pretty amazing. So check that out at tsctalks.com, $19.99 or $39.99 for a larger bottle, 10 milliliter, $19.99. and $39 for the 2-ounce size. Please order soon because these prices are going to go up. These are rock bottom introductory prices. So go check us out, tsctalks.com and Forest Bathe.